Hello, dear visitor. Welcome to Living Curse Audio. I am your host for today's entertainment, and I hope you find it most gratifying to listen in and indulge. Tales from the Crucible, Part 1. What flows most freely in the desert? Over the edge of a great sand basin a man crawled, his vital fluids staining the sea of silica beneath him a vicious crimson. His breath was labored, and his pace after standing was staggered. The man wandered from the basin, clasping shut the wound across his abdomen with his bare hands. His pace through the desert carried him for several hours, maybe days, under the pitiless eyes of the suns. The man's threadbare clothing, made to withstand the heat, had dried to his torso thanks to the spilling of his viscera, and provided minimal protection against the dust that sought to colonize his slowly festering wound. Away from the massacre at the basin and the lamentable death of his youth beast, the man began plotting his return to power. His name was Bakar il Nam, a formerly notorious slave trader in the ever-growing desert, and his last deal had gone sour. The nomads didn't take too kindly to an attempted sale of one of their own, and decided to slaughter Bakar's entire convoy and free his property. He truly was one of the most wretched men in the whole expanse of the desert. Violent, cruel, and now piteously clutching to a life that has already become forfeit. After his stunted wanderings, he came upon an oasis. Its cool waters and clean liquid would salve his wounds and nourish his form, rallying him to retake his old life. I shall not allow it, however. I have been watching him since he crawled from the basin and followed him apace of his location. I have been waiting for him here where the scales of judgment have tipped, buried in the sands that clawed at his wounds, and I thirst for the taste of his last breath upon my lip. The soul fleeing the body is the last breath, and I shall devour it, and ensure his putrescent rot never graces the mortal plane again. He will never be reborn. He shall instead be judged in the arbitrator's grounds and be found wanting. His encroaching footsteps pull me from my reverie. I have listed into. I whisper a small prayer of forgiveness for my laxity, and wait. For no matter his perception, he will stumble to my awaiting blades. That is what the purpose of the silver faceplate is. After Bakar supped on the crystalline waters, he turned from the oasis, plotting in his mind how best to turn this failure around, before noticing a glint of a silver object in the sands, a death mask of a featureless humanoid embossed with briars and a stylized left eye. Reaching towards this piece, Bakar then noticed the searing pain pulse through his body as a thick-bladed knife pierced through his kneecap, bringing him down onto his knees in the sand. The mask rose from the sand as I emerged from the silica sarcophagi I had dug for myself, and as I looked over him he could do naught but gasp out one word: Minarim. I smiled beneath my other face as the realization dawned on him, and as I uttered the last words he would ever hear whilst he was still breathing. You will never see the next sunrise. With both blades crossed, I severed his head from his shoulders, letting his essence flow into the dust around us, turning it a ruby red. I breathed in, savoring the flavor of his soul as it passed between my lips, a mixture of ambrosia and the delightful flavor of the sacred hashish. Turning away, I continued my own trek through the desert. remarking that truly what flows most freely in the desert is blood, oceans of it.